Hi, my name is Mariska Pilch. My husband, Larry Gill, and I are very fortunate to be able to work together from home, doing a business we both really enjoy. I would like to tell you a little story about a deal we did recently. This is the story of the Boomerang House, or as our mentor likes to call it, turning lemons into lemonade. Maybe you're already a landlord, or perhaps you're hoping to get into the real estate business and possibly leave your job. We would like to show you how you can make even more money when the tenants break their lease. And here's the best part. You can do this with a property you don't even own. How is that possible? We took control of this property in mid-April 2013 from a builder who was advertising for sale by owner with possible seller financing. The seller needed a little cash up front, and he was okay with doing a lease option. He was a builder, and he admitted that he really didn't want to have to deal with sales and marketing and dealing with prospects. He just wanted to build houses. He had a problem. We offered a solution in the form of a lease option. A lease option is a regular lease that also gives us the right, but not the obligation, to purchase the property for a pre-negotiated price at any time during a specified period of time. We entered into a 5-year lease option agreement for $500 per month rent and an option fee of $5,000 paid up front. Now, normally we don't offer a seller this much of an option fee, but we believed the house had good profit potential and was otherwise a good deal, so we made an exception. We negotiated a purchase price of the lesser of $120,000 or the balance of the mortgage at the time of sale, anytime within the next 5 years. By the way, no one pulled our credit, asked for financials, or made us jump through a lot of hoops and paperwork. The house was brand new. Not high-end, but it had some nice touches, and it had a view of a lake. It was a couple of counties over, in an area that we weren't really that familiar with. But we did some research, analyzed rents, and determined that we could probably ask at least $900 per month as a rental. So we took possession April 12th, but we didn't start marketing right away because we went on vacation. We were leaving in a few days for a class in LA and then a bicycling vacation in the Sacramento area. We had a really great time biking with friends along the American River, in Sacramento, and in Folsom. We were gone for a total of about 3 weeks. We returned to the Seattle area in early May. It was now time to get serious about marketing. Maybe it was because we'd been goofing around for 3 weeks, but we started to get a little worried about finding tenant buyers. So even though in actuality it had only been on the market a couple of weeks, we were getting anxious and we probably weren't as choosy as we should have been. Within a couple of weeks we found a young couple who really wanted the house. Really young. We both had a funny feeling about her, and they were both so young and they had absolutely zero credit. However, he did have a pretty good job and their monthly income was more than 3 times the monthly rent. Did I mention they were young? Anyway, they convinced us that despite their age, they were very responsible and very anxious to own a home. They agreed to the $5,000 option fee we were asking, and he had actually sold one of his cars to come up with the $2,000, which he handed to us in cash, and we agreed that they could pay the remaining balance of $3,000 over the next couple of months. They moved in on June 1st. The monthly rent was $995 with a 2-year term and an option price of $160,000. However, on June 1st, they didn't have the rent money due to blah, blah, blah. Anyone hear warning bells? Apparently, we didn't hear them. We temporarily lost our minds and allowed them to move in anyway, with an agreement that they would pay June rent on June 15th instead of June 1st. How many people think we ever received the June rent? Then, the young lady ran into some legal troubles, and the next month they didn't make rent either. And of course, they had a variety of accompanying excuses. They sent us an email telling us that they're going to need to move someplace less expensive. I'm reading it thinking to myself, like, find something less than free? Anyway, we convinced them to move out sooner rather than later. On the advice of our mentor, we issued a 3-day pay or vacate notice and also had them sign a lease abandonment agreement. We'd also talked with a local real estate attorney in that county who was ready to start the eviction process if that became necessary. Fortunately, a formal eviction was not needed. They moved out before the end of July, and after doing some minor cleanup and changing the locks, we began marketing the property again. Within a week, new prospective tenant buyers had found one of our ads, contacted us, and put up a deposit on the house, sight unseen. They were moving to Washington from New Mexico for a new job and a change of scenery. They were ecstatic to find our property, as they were not looking forward to living in an apartment. They actually called us while they were on the road, driving a moving van to Washington from New Mexico. These folks had good credit, good job history, and still owned their home of 17 years in New Mexico, which they were now renting to their son. But they didn't have enough for a conventional 20% down payment, so they felt a lease option was a perfect solution. We spoke on the phone several times, ran their credit and did a background check, and they put up a deposit to hold the property. They arrived in Washington and were signed and moved into the home by August 9th. The rent was $995. However, we had increased the option consideration fee to $7,500, and they had absolutely no problem paying that amount. Everything was going great, and they told us several times how much they loved the house and that they looked forward to purchasing within the year and retiring there. Unfortunately, life threw them a curveball. One of their adult children received some distressing health news, and they packed up and moved out suddenly with no notice at the end of September. We just happened to notice that their automatic rent deposit had not been made on October 1st, but this time we were a little more proactive and sent an email on October 2nd asking if perhaps they'd overlooked it and expressing our hope that everything was okay. They immediately responded with a very apologetic email and a phone call explaining the situation. They kept thanking us for everything we had done, for giving them this opportunity, and apologized for not holding up their end of the bargain. They also told us that they weren't able to take with them the brand new washer and dryer they had purchased for the house, and that we could do what we wanted with them. Wow! 2 sets of tenant buyers come and gone in just 4 months. We had to ask ourselves, did we have a lemon property on our hands? And if it was a lemon property, what should we do? The obvious answer is, make lemonade. When we drove out to the property to inspect and change the locks, we found that they had left the property even cleaner than when they had moved in, and it had been pretty clean. What's more, they had installed a very nice front storm or screen door, which allowed for a nice view of the lake. They installed custom closets, and sure enough, there was the new washer and dryer, along with a receipt and extended warranty. Since the house was perfectly clean, there was really nothing to do but start marketing it again. And wouldn't you know it, within 2 weeks we had another out-of-state tenant buyer put up a deposit, sight unseen. This young family had previously lost out on a different lease option property we had advertised about a month before. So they knew firsthand that good houses go quickly, and they were not about to lose out on this one. We ran their applications and took deposits online, and then they drove here from North Carolina and moved in on November 5th. Now that the property had a washer and dryer, courtesy of tenant buyers number 2, we felt that it only made sense to raise the rent to $1,095, right? We also increased the option fee to $8,500 and increased the purchase price to $164,000. Yep, we raised that too, with a 1-year term. He has VA benefits and his credit is pretty good, so they should have no problems qualifying for a mortgage before the end of their 1-year term. Oh, and they are thrilled with the house and very grateful for the opportunity. They are currently making plans to do some landscaping. So, for anyone doing the math in their head, and for everyone else who didn't try, here's what the numbers look like. We paid a $5,000 option fee on April 12th of this year. Our monthly rent is $500 starting May 1st. So over 7 months, that's $3,500. Utilities during the time of vacancy, plus a lock change or two, maybe $200 tops. We control the property for 5 years, and we have the option to purchase it at the lesser of $120,000 or the balance of the mortgage at the time of sale. So our total out-of-pocket to date is less than $9,000. Now let's look at income. We received $2,000 from tenant buyers number 1, $7,500 in option fee from tenant buyer number 2, $8,500 from tenant buyer number 3 for their option fee, $1,995 in rent from tenant buyers number 2, that's for 2 months, and so far we've received 1 month of rent from tenant buyers number 3. So that's a total of over $21,000 in income from April 2013 to November 2013. To date, in less than 7 months, we've cleared over $12,000, and this is on a property we don't even own. Maybe you're asking about now, what if the tenant buyers never exercise their option to buy? What if this pattern just keeps repeating? Well, we'll just make more lemonade. How much more could we make with 4 years left on our option contract? Let's assume a modest 3% yearly rent increase, and for simplicity's sake, we'll just keep the option fee at $7,500, and we'll allow for just 1 new tenant buyer per year. So in year 2, that's $15,024. In year 3, $15,432. Year 4, $15,852. And in year 5, $16,282. So in 5 years, we stand to make almost $75,000 cash flow. And that's if no one exercises their option to buy. At this point, we can either walk away or we buy the property at any time before the option expires. Because remember, we have the right, but not the obligation, to purchase the property for the lesser of $120,000 or the present balance of the mortgage at any time within the next 5 years. Would you be okay with 385% cash-on-cash return in the first year if they don't exercise their option to buy? On the other hand, if tenant buyers number 3 do exercise their option to buy at $164,000, we will make an additional $71.40 in rent spread over the next year, plus about $40,000 from the sales spread, which is the difference between our negotiated price with the owner and the price to the new tenant buyer. We will have made almost $60,000 in less than 18 months. And again, this is on a property we don't even own. How would you feel about 1,185% cash-on-cash return if they buy? I'll just let that sink in a moment. So, what did we learn from all of this? Here are some of our takeaways. First, don't go on vacation right after you acquire a property. If your tenant buyers are really young and they have no credit history, have them get a co-signer. Always follow your attorney's advice and make sure that your attorney understands your business model. Have a mentor who knows your business. A good mentor will greatly shorten your learning curve and save you a lot of money. Larry and I have coaches and mentors for several different areas of our lives. Surprise! This business is not about real estate. It's about marketing, sales, taking action, and persistence. This one's a biggie. You do not have to have a lot of money to do this business. And finally, you can make a lot of money in real estate, even if you never own a property. How can you learn how to do this? Imagine doing a deal like this a few times a year, or maybe even once a month. Would that change your life? Would you like to learn how to do these sorts of deals with very little to almost no money out of pocket? Then pick up the phone or send us an email. You know, We wouldn't be where we are today if we hadn't found our amazing mentor, coach, and friend, Claude Diamond. Claude not only helped us master this business model, but he also trained us in a powerful and proprietary sales technique called GUTS, which stands for Great Unconventional and Unorthodox Techniques of Selling. It has applications not only in real estate, but in practically any other business or relationship that you could think of. We are licensees of his program, and we are privileged to mentor and coach students of our own now in creative real estate and in the GUTS sales method. It's really revolutionary, and it's had an amazing effect on our businesses. So go ahead and call us, or call Claude. Just stop spinning your wheels. Take action today. Thanks for listening. Here's to your success.